Entering the field, the 2023 Auburn University Marching Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the Speed Metal Kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And now, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
It's Sunday evening once again, and it's an oh-so special one. Times 4, you might say. We got another episode of the Auburn Experience podcast, episode 119 coming your way. We don't know what kind of segments we're going to have, but we know what they're going to be about. This could be a wild and crazy one, folks. So saddle up, because it's Final Four celebration time. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You could qualify it times 4. You can qualify it times 4. You can quantify whatever my phrase is. No matter how you slice it, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family stuff. Most easily said, if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. And boy,
all the way to San Antonio.
All the way to flipping San Antonio tonight. We're back with you to talk about that experience here on episode 119. I'm your one co-host, Kyle Loomis, alongside me, yelling in the background, just jammed up, jelly tight, ready to go because he's fresh off of Toomer's Corner, Austin Scott. Welcome to episode 119, sir.
War Eagle, Kyle. War Eagle to our viewers and listeners. Your Auburn Tigers are back in the Final Four.
How does it feel? Tell me, are you excited at all?
I'm pumped. I'm absolutely pumped. I've worn the same socks, shoes, underwear, pants, and sweatshirt every single tournament game. It all paid off. I'm so pumped. I'm so proud of this team. And it just feels very good to see that what we all hoped for and believed and thought might happen has come to fruition.
It is real. It is happening. It was probably a little scary at times for some folks more than they would like. We're going to talk about it all here, but the reality is that this episode is dedicated to Final Four celebration and really just chronicling the journey that it has been, the path to the Final Four. So just to give you all a warning, we have no clue what kind of we normally try to give you like these little nice segments where we've got Auburn potpourri, we've got segment 1 and 2. We're just starting with all the basketball talk. We will get to some A-Day discussions at the end of it because that is very important this week as well. We might not have an over Auburn potpourri segment. Who knows? If you're somebody from another persuasion of an Auburn topic that you want to discuss tonight, I'm sorry. We're doing our best just to kind of pack everything in here right now. So let's talk about the let's talk about the elephant in the room. Oh, excuse me. There's no elephants in the room because they didn't make it to the Final Four. Wow.
There are no elephants in San Antonio. So let's talk about the Gators and the Blue Devils and the Cougars and the Tigers in the room.
We can talk about them. What a day. What a day. So certainly we want to just spend some minutes here talking about what just happened a few hours ago. We've done a post-game show about it. We have done several sharing things. I want to give it a special shout out. Austin, you're doing a lot of things with your hands right now. Do you know what to do with yourself?
I'm very distracting right now, aren't I?
You are very distracting, but I love it.
Sorry.
All the same. I love it all the same.
Myself.
I don't know what to do with my hands. It's just, there you go. That's what you do with your hands. I really don't know where to start with this. We're starting the show late and for a good reason. This is not in any way to bring shame to Austin. Austin lost the track of time. Why was that, Austin, this evening?
Oh, I got a text on the lawn where the old BCM was. And I was
pour one out for the BCM. It's back there still. It's just a different building. Jeez.
Where the exact spot was, eating pizza with my family. And Kyle texted me and said, "You good?" And I said, "No." I did not realize what time it was at all. because I was at Toomer's Corner celebrating with the Auburn family, and the whole of the Auburn experience you heard was it always comes together at Toomer's Corner. The sports, the culture, and the family meet. The toilet paper was raining, and it's a special, special moment. And so we jumped in the car when the buzzer hit and drove out there and had a blast. It was hot. It was packed. There were tons of people, but that is my reason for my tardiness on tonight's show. But you know what? For good reason.
The excuse is warranted, and the excuse is perfectly fine over here with most of our audience, I believe. I think we all lived vicariously through you. We shared an image out from the Toomer's Corner webcam, and I got to say, it's definitely a larger crowd than was there the night previous, and that was a
Huge.
It was large. But where do you think this Toomer's crowd maybe ranks in what you've seen? I mean, obviously the last roll for that is going to always take the cake, but what do you think about this?
I mean, it's every bit of a Georgia or Alabama football win. You know, I mean, I think that there's enough people that were already probably downtown watching the game or and around the area. Obviously, school's in session. It's a Sunday night, so it helps people are back in town. It was packed, like absolutely packed. I think it's hard to tell kind of how it compares just exactly because some of those football games are end at night, and so you can't really see. We got out there and it's plenty of daylight. But I mean, it was huge. One of the biggest ones I've been to. And I'm sure that there will be other people who saw that it wasn't in some areas. I don't know, pushing a double stroller through it. I can tell you it felt very large in the moment. But it was big, very big, and rightfully so. I love that not 2 nights ago, there was a sizable crowd doing the same thing. Cleanup crew came in Friday, got it looking pristine again, and they'll be back out there tomorrow. That's for sure.
They get a lot of work the last couple of weeks, and we're hoping that they will have lots more work next weekend. But that is something to be discussed in a little bit. I want to give we had coverage everywhere, E2C Network, technically, even though he wasn't working for us. He was there in spirit for us, Austin, at Toomer's Corner. I also want to give a shout out to AJ, who did some work for us over on Twitter, especially, and we're going to be sharing some more footage and images from he got to attend the game and rub it all in our face. But
hey, we tried.
Let's talk about that.
Let's just peel back the curtain here. We tried.
But first, AJ, thank you so much for all your work. But
thank you, AJ. It was amazing stuff.
Let's put the story together here about how you and I were trying to finagle this. We had discussions previous, like, you might be going with a group of friends. I might be there. We'll meet up, whatever. Well, it got to this Sunday, and you and I both, I think, had an itch that we needed to scratch, and we're really wanting to see if we could make this happen. And so we started putting together plans to start monitoring ticket prices and Facebook groups and things like that to see what may or may not happen. And I think there's a couple times that you and I thought, hey, this might come together for you and me to be in the arena together to watch the team play. But ultimately, what would have been to watch this in person, the Final Four. It just didn't work out quite. You may have had almost some success for us, but man, we almost had a live from the State Farm Arena episode 119. It could have happened.
Yeah, no, legit. We tried. We talked to. I think we both talked to a couple people trying to work the money down, but ultimately, it Kyle and I, I know it seems like we make a lot of money doing the show.
Oh yeah.
And obviously it looks like we are incredibly wealthy from the show. Unfortunately, that's not the case at all. But we did not end up going. I think it was totally fine. I'm okay with it. You know what? I did think about a couple times that if we went and I lost or Auburn lost, I don't know if I could come back to this show. So it worked out. We didn't get to go, but we both saw it. I got to go to Tumors. I'm here with you, and
yep.
It all worked out the way it was supposed to.
It all worked out the way it was supposed to, the way it was planned. No shenanigans, no scary moments throughout this entire process.
You're flying us to San Antonio anyway, so it'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right. Of course, that's exactly what's happening. Don't get your hopes up. By the way, just as a quick aside, I will actually be traveling to Texas 2 other times. So I'd like to not add another time this year. So no offense to people in Texas. I'm not looking forward to, that as much. I don't like planes. I don't like traveling that far, but hey, the Auburn Tigers, sometimes they get it, we found out this morning of us trying to scramble to find tickets. It gets in your blood, and you somehow try to find a way to make it there. Okay. Final Four celebrations. We talked about Toomer's Corner. You all have seen several of the image. Maybe we've shared someone out there. They got their trophy for winning the South region, cut down the net, special moments galore. Player, not just player of the game, but player of the South region, Janai Broom. Let's start right here. Your final score is 70-65. I don't know how you start anywhere talking about this Michigan State game without discussing Janai Broom. Certainly when you talk, I think it's important to talk about the whole of the story, not just what currently may or may not be happening in a team or a person's story. Certainly Janai, to start the tournament, had some less than, by his high standards, he set stellar games, and he even said that himself. But what we saw transpire in the Sweet 16 and then today was incredible. Not even talking about the fact that he got injured in this thing. I want to talk about roller coaster rides, Austin, for the Auburn Experience. We went from elation of an incredible start. Was it 23-8? I think was how we started.
17-0 run.
They start kind of kicking it back in. We start controlling again. Janai goes down. I know that, stop me if you've heard this before this season. And it looks bad this time, to be honest with you. In our heart, I even texted Austin, "What do you think?" What did you say to me? You said something.
Remember?
It's something to you blacked out. Something. It's not good. I'll tell you that. Something like that. And then obviously the win. So, how do you not look at Janai Broom? Take your orange and blue glasses off. Take your blue and white. The Duke Blue Devils. They're the ones that push back on this the most. Not look at Janai Broom and his full body of work, but just today alone, and not look at that kid and put him easily, if not ahead, in the conversation for National Player of the Year.
It to me, and like you said, trying to take orange and blue glasses off, there's a certain moments that just like transcend sports, right? Yes. I don't want to be romantic about it. I don't want to be like corny about it.
You be romantic, you romantic devil.
Hey,
hit me right
devils.
Here in the heart.
We're not devils.
We're not devils. You angel, you hit me right there in the field. I want it.
Those are moments though that when Janai comes back out onto the court, especially in an arena 75%, 85% full of orange and blue, that just don't. It's movie like stuff, right?
Right.
To see him go down, and it wasn't as I don't want to say dramatic because feel like he hasn't been. That's not what I'm saying, but it wasn't as. He didn't seem as much pain as the other injuries before. Sure. It was kind of like a shock, definitely a grimace, and then going back to the locker room with his family. And so at first it's like, this isn't that bad, but then you start hearing and seeing the reports on TV and being like, he's saying he's done. It doesn't look good. He doesn't feel good. And then to come back out to get a one-armed rebound with his good arm and to come down and bang a three.
Jeez,
it's unreal. That sequence will be on some video. It will be on one shining moment for certain.
If that is not there, the picture of him going down and saying "I'm done," but then the next switches over and him nailing the three.
Yes,
you have failed us, CBS or March Madness or whoever makes the flipping video. You know what? Auburn Productions, War Eagle Productions, I need y'all to take over and make sure that actually happens, because if that's not in one shining moment, you have failed as a videographer.
That's who I was thinking of anyway. For Auburn, like their video of it will be spectacular and will be some kind of epic movie feel. But it's just, those are things that just don't happen very often and feel bigger than the game itself. But Janai, before the injury, was going on a tear already.
Oh yeah,
just absolutely cleaning up. Double again before halftime.
Yeah,
the best player on the court, the best player in the region, the best player in the tournament, and just showed it again, and has all year. But I think on a national stage like he is now, I fail to see how people are not on consensus, but I know they're out there.
Yeah, and listen, this is not a conversation to say that Cooper Flagg is not worthy of being in this conversation. And certainly this is a much deeper conversation. We don't want to sit here and focus about this part. But you can't tell the story of Auburn versus Michigan State. You can't tell the story of the South region with how he built himself up to the standard that Janai has set for himself over these 3 years that he's been with us and throughout his college career, frankly, to what it, reached its peak at in this region. And he's not done yet. We're still playing in the Final Four. And who knows, he may have just a regular game, not as exciting of one, but the trajectory that he is on right now, the whole body of his work, you have to put him in that conversation, if not in the lead for that conversation. You can call us orange or blue glasses all you want. You're just not having a fair, well-rounded discussion if you're not talking about it with some seriousness. Anyway, wanted to make sure we at least discuss Janai a little bit about that. Cutting down the nets, seeing Dylan Cardwell cut down these nets for me is probably the Auburn moment. I shouldn't say there's no better example. I love Jalen Williams, Eugene Asante. There's these guys that, whatever the sport, these ladies, whatever the sport, whether they are a major contributor or not in the scoring category, whatever, he's the cap for a reason. They call him cap for a reason. And to see him go up that ladder, cut down the nets in his final year, and lead chants of War Eagle, tell me you must be dead if you don't feel something in that. What a moment. I hope you got to see some of that online.
I have gotten to see just a little bit as I'm going through things after tumors. But, we talked about even last year when what we thought was his senior year video of just how much Auburn meant to him, how much that was heartfelt. That moment to see him, and even then, as that's before an SEC tournament championship and that's before an exit to Yale, even now, that was special. Even now, seeing him at the pinnacle and winning a region, heading to the Final Four as the captain of this team, it means all the more for him. And I've said this before. I said this last week. I've been very hard on Dylan Cardwell on his play on the court. I've had to eat a lot of those words, and I'm thankful for that because he has played out of his mind defensively. Offensively, just as a teammate, we talked about him calling out teams last year, all the things it takes to be why they call him cap. So to see him get that honor and to cut down those nets is very rewarding. And I hope he's not done cutting down nets.
I hope so. I hope we got many, many more nets to cut down. I know there's only so many left, but you get the point I'm trying to make here. 2 Final Fours for Auburn in what? 6 years? Is that right? Am I doing math correctly? 2019. It'd be technically 7, wouldn't it? By the
1920.
2 in a decade.
5 tournaments. We missing the 20.
And we probably would be in the Final Four with that team. We're not going there tonight. We're not going there tonight.
But Kyle, if I told you, I know the answer to this, but if I told you 10 years ago when Bruce Pearl was hired and Auburn is the basement cellar of the college basketball because of the coach at Central Michigan. If I told you could get 2 Final Fours in the next 10 years, 1 every 5 years, it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
That's what Bruce Pearl's done.
Yep.
A Final Four every 5 years he's been here.
Yeah. And it's funny to look back throughout the trajectory of the season and why we focus so much and preach about being people of substance and not of sound bites here. When Auburn had its one or two very few bad moments of this season, which I can't even come up with what those would have been. But I just remember some fans saying, this is always what Bruce Pearl does. He can't get to the mountaintop. He literally got to the Final Four 2 years in a matter of a decade. That is an incredible feat in college basketball. Doing that once is an incredible feat because that's just difficult to do. Doing it twice, I don't know how you don't look at Bruce Pearl and say legend. With what he built at Auburn, or what he had to build from to what he's built it now, national conversation, Pete, top overall seed, 2 Final Fours, SEC tournament, SEC regular season champs, and he's got a Defensive Player of the Year award and what should be a Player of the Year award in this year. The legacy is not over yet, thankfully, in it being built, but it's built. It's here to stay. Bruce Pearl is a legend.
He is a legend, and I think it's so hard for probably younger people in this day and age to realize, but this is happening at Auburn. Auburn is not a basketball historic powerhouse. Like the fact that and what you said, what he's built from what he had. Well, he had nothing. The cupboard was bare, and the wood shelves had probably been taken out and gone with Tony Barbie to wherever he went to play golf. The cupboard is totally bare. And there was like a torn Under Armour shirt in there when he got here because Tony hated the brand. The fact
because you can't win with Under Armour, right?
You can't win with Under Armour. Someone let Tony know that on his couch. The fact that Auburn is what it is all a credit to Bruce Pearl and how he has bought into Auburn and how they've bought back into him. There's so many probably superlatives that are probably emotional, probably not. You could give to Bruce Pearl when he's done, which Lord, I hope it's not for a while. When he's done, we will be talking about him on that Mount Rushmore. We love a Mount Rushmore here of Auburn coaches.
Oh man,
I mean, there is so many accolades to give from an Auburn perspective that will happen one day and can be debated. But my goodness. He's deserving of all that conversation, and this only adds to that resume.
It absolutely does. Michigan State, Auburn, 70-65. We have chronicled the injury part of that, which was the biggest story other than Auburn winning and finishing out, which let's give Michigan State credit. What a flurry at the end. They couldn't knock down a three until the end of the game, and boy, did they make it a little bit too scary, which is the Auburn way, it feels like, just kind of leave room for a little bit of excitement and everything. You beat Tom Izzo for the first time as an SEC team school. 10-0 coming in this game. Kentucky couldn't do it. Tennessee couldn't do it. Whoever of the upper echelon of what people will usually consider the SEC. Nobody could do it but Bruce Pearl and Auburn. How much I love Tom Izzo and how much I preach about him. This to me, this is not a Mount Rushmore or my Mount Everest of Auburn basketball. But when you talk about like some of those peaks that aren't the big ones that you see, this one is that. It's like I can see that precipice in the shadow of the ultimate precipice. This for me is huge. We beat Tom Izzo, Austin. That's a big thing.
Tom Izzo is 10-0 against SC teams in the tournament. He is 10-1. That is one of the greats. That will be a Hall of Fame coach. If he's not already, I don't know how college basketball Hall of Fame works. Tom Izzo is a Hall of Fame coach, has won championships, and is going to be doing this for as long as he wants to. And Bruce Pearl and Auburn took him down to go to the Final Four.
They did 70.
It's crazy to hear.
70-65 with its up and down moments, but great start by Auburn. We'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention very briefly the Michigan game, because you and I haven't had a chance to talk about it. I know that pales into comparison to what we have been spending the majority of our time talking about yet, but it's part of the journey of us getting here to this point. Back on Friday night, I actually got a chance to go into town, Atlanta, and cover some of the Tiger Walk and events and the tailgate and all that stuff. So I hope you guys see what you're doing now. I thought you were calling me small, and then I remembered. We'll get there. Go check out all that content if you haven't already, because we got some good stuff of shots of Dylan, I'm blanking on Jeremy Napier, the team chaplain, doing the call God son right. I mean, he literally right into the camera and gave me a little slap on the shoulder as he came by while we were filming and stuff. So that was awesome. Abby, you're going to love all that stuff. But Auburn versus Michigan, the storylines of Bobby, I know, for your kids. The storylines abound from that one. We talked about the preview of it. Trey Donaldson. Now you can do it, Austin. Do it one more time for the camera. Trey, look at me, buddy. Look at me right now. I still love you. I still think you're a great basketball player. I wish you had stayed, but my gosh, what a stupid decision on your part. Would you like to tell the tale for those that don't know? I'm sure most people know what we're talking about, but would you like to tell the tale of what happened?
Trey had 5 points, and he guaranteed himself he wasn't getting 5 anymore after that. After calling Tahad Big Game Pettiford too small. So
yes.
Look, I'm with you. We've talked about how much we are fans of Trey Donaldson and the way he plays, and he is smart. Smart basketball player.
Except for that.
That was a moment in judgment. And look, as much as there was emotion for us wanting to play Trey and play against Michigan, there was plenty of emotion from him too. And I think that was probably just a moment of it. But Tahad Pettiford, oh my goodness. I don't know where to start with this game, but I mean, Kyle, I was worried. I guess early second half. I mean, I think a lot of people were. I was tired of hearing Danny Wolf's name. I was tired of hearing that whistle blow for against Michigan so much. But my goodness, the resilience of that team, I think, carries into the team we saw today. And it exudes confidence when you can play like that against a team that's very good and still have all the success that you want to, coming back like that, making a big run, then starting today off with a big run. And it's so many different people. We've talked about that all year. Tahad did not have his best game today, but he had an incredible game on Friday night. Chad made moments in each of these games today. Janai is in foul trouble. Janai goes out for a little while tonight, and Cheney steps up for a few minutes. Just crazy how this team puts it all together to keep winning. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to the tale of it.
Yeah, what's the rhyme or reason is Bruce Pearl and his ability to put people in the right position. And it's always, I know I'm a broken record on some of these things. When fans start questioning and start, Tahad Pettiford should start. And I'm like, the dude's good. We're giving him his laurels right now. But if you're messing up the way things work, and I don't think anybody can argue that the full body of work of this season, it's working. We're in the Final Four with the way the starting lineup has been. Tahad Pettiford coming off the bench is working for him. Why would you mess those things up? You don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is the simplest way to say that. And he is flourishing, as you saw in that Michigan game, obviously getting back at Trey Donaldson a little bit. The meeting with KT Harrell and Bruce at the beginning is very, you want to talk about romantic things in sports. You talked about earlier when we were talking about Bruce and what he's done for this program. He had nothing. He had KT Harrell. And he talked about that recently in an interview, and no disrespect was meant to anybody else that was here during that time. But that was it. KT was the guy that they had that belonged to be in the SEC there. And he got to see a little bit of that success in that first year in that tournament games. But he's now, from afar, witnessed Auburn flourish into what he helped the beginnings be. And now meeting him here in this moment where Auburn is, in some people's eyes, still a favorite in some ways to win the national title. It's very poetic, very romantic. And I'm happy we got to see KT Harrell again.
Yeah, really cool to see that clip. I don't feel like it was talked about that much, like on the broadcast, and that's totally fine. But I think that it was cool to see their reunion, short and lively, but fun to see those two reunite, and also, in where they've gotten. Bruce has gotten that Auburn team KT helped start the history with as a number one overall seed, and KT has worked his way up in his own right. I know he was a GA here for a little bit, but he's also done a lot on his own, and I think that's very special, and cool for Bruce to see that he is an extension of Bruce Pearl's effects, but on the coaching level. So very cool to see them. I'm very glad that the master got the best of the student this time. But hopefully there's some more matchups down the road.
Maybe so. Maybe some more opportunities for revenge and things like that as a round out for our conversation. And listen, I know we're leaving parts of this story out that we'll cover on another show or something like that. But talking about knocking down history, Bruce Pearl adds another one to his list here at Auburn. Most wins in a year for Auburn basketball. Well, it keeps growing. 31 broke it. 32 moves it on. 33 and 34 are certainly on the table if I've got my numbers correct. Another one that Bruce is finally just chipping away and setting the standard higher at Auburn. Did you ever think we'd see 32 wins in a season?
No. just straight up no.
Flat up.
It's special, and it's surprising. It's hard to keep up with those kind of things when it's like the tournament style, right? The records don't really update as much as as in the win-loss records don't update as much as we're used to. But It's special. 32 win. I remember thinking with the 2019 team, there's no way we are ever winning 30 games again. Like, it's just a number. And to do it in the hardest schedule, to do it in the hardest conference ever, and then to do it in a very hard region and get to the Final Four is pretty unbelievable. It would be awesome if on CBS and all the March Madness coverage, if Auburn's 34th, a very cute number, 34th win is a national title in San Antonio with Charles Barkley on president. So we will see. That's Kyle's prediction.
You romantic devil, you.
I'm going to tell you right now, Kyle's prediction is that 34th win will come. So that would be very special. And I will definitely be making note of that should that happen. But I know we got to get to other things, but just a special weekend.
Yeah.
The tournament is always fun. And I know there's a bunch of people who are like, oh, it's all one seeds. No, the tournament is always fun, but it's a lot more fun when the Auburn Tigers are taking the world by storm. And that's what's happened. So continue doubting us. We'll continue play the underdog card as the number one overall seed and the Under Armour card for one more year, for 2 more games. But we are the underdog. And if Bruce Pearl has anything to say about it, that's what it'll be. So, Kyle, I did want to make one note because I thought you would think this is funny.
I'll bring it on.
April 2nd, 2014, as we talked about, Bruce Pearl with that empty cupboard. He hires his director of basketball operations, Todd Golden, on his first staff. Now they meet in the Final Four next Saturday. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, gosh, I can't even think about it right now. It's right in front of us. I know we won't be back together before to break that down in any way. Unless you want to right now. I mean, like we said, we're going to be all over. Do you want to just do it real quick?
Well, who cares? Yeah, look.
Okay. Let's talk about Auburn versus Florida rematch.
Well, first of all, like, big picture. Auburn's played the other 3 teams in the Final Four. Someone's going to meme us. The other 3 teams in the Final Four, Auburn played. Like, they played 2 of them in November, December, and the other one at the end of the SEC season. Like, it couldn't have been a better scheduling for Auburn to get to this point. I think that, and we talked about that going into the basketball season. When you make that hard schedule, you're doing it so you can be ready for March.
Yep.
We talked about it. It's how Alabama did it well last year. Auburn planned to do it this year. They did it. They annihilated the schedule and then kept it rolling. This matchup with Florida is one of our viewers commented and said it, a revenge game. You think Bruce Pearl doesn't have all the motivation he needs to go into this game? Is they embarrassed you in front of your home crowd? No one's picking you to win because they've already beaten you. And now I'm not saying it's not a matchup nightmare. It is, and they both know each other very well. But it will be an all-time game, and Auburn will need everybody to perform well and its stars to shine. I cannot wait for the game. I think it's going to be very difficult, very, very difficult. But I can't wait. It's what this tournament's about. It's what college basketball is for, is best on best, and that's what we're going to get.
Yeah, listen, there are a lot of people who have used, and I'm not really picking at you when you say this, but I'm afraid of this. I'm worried about that. I have not been afraid or worried once about this, and I sure as heck ain't afraid of or worried about Florida, Duke, or Houston. And that is not out of disrespect to say they won't beat us. That is simply because I know this team is built to be successful. I know this team is capable of rectifying the few mistakes that it's had this year. I know that this team is one of the best, if not the best, that I've seen in my lifetime, and they can do it. Now, Florida, the matchup, the revenge, certainly you got the storylines all there. Todd Golden, the protege, the master, all of that. Bruce got him in the SEC tournament the year before. He got him in the regular season, and frankly opened, I guess, what seemed to be an insurmountable like armor that Auburn was wearing in the season for everybody else to come. The blood got in the water. Auburn's not as, dominant as they seemed. Yeah. And so that, there's motivation for them on the side. That you can take them down. But Auburn knows that they can also outmatch, match up well with these guys and play if they play to their fullest. We've seen Texas Tech take them down to the wire. Who did they play before that almost got them to? UConn as well. Now, great. Look, both great programs. It's not like this was a big shock. It's not like Robert Morris almost did to Alabama at one point. Okay, sorry, I had to get in there a little bit. But I like it. Walter Clayton is your guy, right? You know,
huge.
That's the Janai Broom for them. And there's plenty of other players. Chinyelu, I'm so tired of hearing his name. Many others. Hangleton, is that how you say his name or something?
They've got so many. They got Condon. They got Ogden. They got Richard. They're legit. I mean, they've proven that all year. They've proven it by getting to the Final Four.
Yeah,
it will be immensely tough. No matter what happens, the last games for Auburn, either one or two, are rematches. Yes. So there's no secrets anymore. It'll be who plays their best, who handles it their best, and who comes prepared. I really, as a fan, I love that the 1 seeds are there because it just proves that they handled it all season long. These were the 4 best teams all season long. Now they're all facing off. It's going to be awesome.
And here's a way to think about it as well. If you face a lower, like a 2, 3, 4 seed, maybe a Cinderella team there, and you beat them in the national title, everybody's going to say, well, you didn't have to face the toughest, even though that they made it there, which proves that they were the toughest. There are no excuses any fan can make from this point, not just from the fact that everybody is a 1 seed, not just from the fact of everybody's full body of work, but the fact that Auburn will have to go through Florida, who opened the wound in the SEC for Auburn to look not as formidable as they had been, which is saying something. But then you either have to go through Duke, which I think most people are assuming, and then, or not then, or Houston, who gave you everything you had, and you had to come from behind to beat them at basically a home game for them at the very beginning of the season. That is poetic. That is the story literally being told and then going back to the very beginning and closing the book. Auburn can close the book on every narrative, every storyline, every doubt that this team was the best team under Bruce Pearl thus far and the best team in Auburn history. It is right there in front of you. Seize it, take it. It is yours. That is my motivation to the team. That's all I'll say about that. Final predictions real quick. Any predictions?
Oh man.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Hey, we're going to get it done. Tigers are going to get it done. Rematch. The master takes down the student once again. Auburn has his national championship next Monday.
I said it at the beginning of the tournament when we previewed it, that if Auburn made it through the South region, and I see no reason to doubt it from this point forward. We may be wrong at the end of this in the next episode, being a little sad, but I ain't going to be sad because this team is special, and what they have accomplished may not ever be replicated again. Enjoy it, folks. Your Tigers are Final Four bound. All right. I think we got all of that in there. Like I said, we're not going to probably have time for potpourri, but we do have to tackle a separate topic tonight in some detail. Put aside all your March Madness and your basketball and all having fun with that. We've got still spring football going on, and that has been rolling, but kind of the media cycle of it started this past week. We've shared some stuff out there if you'd like to go look at it, some press conferences and things like that. We'll be covering it as best we can while basketball is still going on. But we got the news this week that the A-Day festivities will be a little different. We have previewed a little bit about dates and things that were going to happen. So this is more so going to be an update. And it's going to be 2 parts. We're going to give you the facts, what you need to know. That's what we're here for, to help you have the best Auburn experience. But certainly there are opinions and changes that have sparked a lot of conversation. We'll save that for the second part of this in our A-Day facts and information and opinions. Let's start right there. A-Day, April 12th. What are we, 2 weeks, Austin, from that?
Well, 2 weeks from yesterday, yep.
2 weeks from yesterday, because we're recording on a Sunday evening. So I will be there. Maybe Austin will be there. I don't know what his schedule is, but I hope many of you will be there and hang out with us, regardless of whether you agree the way things are going to be done. Let me give you the rundown, because it's not just a day, but it is a weekend that you should fully enjoy to get the best Auburn experience that you can get, especially in the spring. To me, the most well-rounded Auburn experience that A-Day provides each and every year. So it starts on Friday. And I'm trying to pull it up right now. I had it ready. It wasn't going to go. Friday, you've got softball versus Georgia, women's tennis versus Ole Miss, baseball versus LSU. Hello, big matchup right there.
Big time.
Saturday, Tiger Trail induction. We'll bring that back up in just a second with some new names that'll be out around Toomer's Corner and all of downtown Auburn area. There's an alumni flag football game at 11 a.m. Central Time at Jordan-Hare. There will be a Tiger Walk before the spring game, the spring practice that is open, presented by Golden Flake at 12 p.m. Central Time. So the Tiger Walk will be about an hour or so, maybe 30 minutes before that. There will be a fan day event immediately following the practice at 1:30 Central Time in Jordan-Hare Stadium on the grass, I believe. And it will be where you can get some autographs. So that is returning in essence. Softball versus Georgia, baseball versus LSU, and then Sunday women's tennis versus LSU, softball versus Georgia, baseball versus LSU. So you've got a lot to look forward to with this weekend. We'll talk about some of the elements of this, but I know there's not a lot of changes since we last talked about it, Austin, other than how things will be done. But once again, I think we would ask that people go experience this to the fullest. Is the best Auburn experience you can get on one weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, and I think we mentioned this weekend back in the beginning of the calendar year as this could be a big weekend for you to experience the whole of the Auburn experience. I mentioned back then that could be a very celebratory time as well. Regardless of what happens next week, and I think you'll probably see that celebrating this basketball team made the Final Four. So I'd like to throw that. I don't know any intel. I'm just kind of
speculating,
lining up the cards here. I think that's probably going to be part of your agenda as well. So that's certainly exciting. I really like the fact that they do the Tiger Trail around the spring game thing. I think that's pretty fun. Do we know who are the?
I do. I can give you.
I do not know that.
Yeah, so let's talk about who the Tiger Trail people are going to be, so this year. And if you're not aware what the Tiger Trail is, these are these plaques that are all around downtown Auburn. I don't know where you technically say it starts, but there's a map that you can go online and see everybody, or just walk it yourself. Get you a Toomer's lemonade and walk each little corner. When you find one end, go back and go to the other one and stuff. I keep meaning to film this for everybody, but it changes every year. So technically I have to film it every single year to document it. But your Tiger Trail recipients this year, I had it ready up on my thing. Everything has moved on me, Austin, because everything's so excited. No, it's not you. It's all the algorithm is showing me all the different Auburn stuff from the Final Four. I do know that Coach Karen Hoppe, I remember that name. Well-deserved, just retired, is going to be one of the Tiger Trail recipients. And I think, honestly, we would have failed, don't you think, if that hadn't happened?
Yeah. Well, and I hope people remember, if you're not familiar with it enough, is it's players, administration, coaches have played a big part in Auburn's history and prominence. So Coach Karen Hoppe, well-deserving. We talked about Kirsty Coventry last week. I know she's on the Tiger Trail.
She is.
But last year was really good. There were some really good additions. So I'm excited to hear about this year's.
So I think you would probably say for most people that might be the biggest name, just because it's a recency bias is where soccer.
Most familiar,
most familiar, 1999 to 2024. You got two football people being added this year. Steve Wallace, who played 1983 to 85. Then you've got Reese Dismukes, a recent one, football, 2011 to 2014. Probably one of Auburn's best centers in the modern era. I think of
Ryan Pugh.
Ryan Pugh. I think of Reese Dismukes. Connor Lew is certainly making a name for himself right now. Reese, I think, is very much deserving of that for what he did he came in as a freshman, I believe, and started getting significant time, if not starting right away. Then you've got Jack Stewart for basketball and track. I love our dual sport athletes. 1930 to 1932. So obviously the majority of us don't know about Jack, but you do now. So that's your recipient, Steve Wallace.
Awesome.
Coach Karen Hoppe, Jack Stewart, and Reese Dismukes in the Tiger Trail induction that you get to see this year. Obviously, you have to pay to go to the event, but you can still come see the plaques when they are set. And that usually takes place. The plaques go out, I think, a couple weeks later, whenever things die down on campus.
Yeah.
Little bit.
Well, I always really like that that's a part of the kind of spring football festivities. I mean, I think that with how there's a lot of excitement about Auburn baseball, you've got plenty of opportunity to go see a big time matchup with LSU. Same with Auburn softball. You get to go see the Malveaux era for the first time in person for a lot of people. So plenty to do. I think you meant, is it men's or women's tennis that was going
Women's
on?
tennis, and you're talking about the first year for the coaches.
That's
Malveaux.
correct. Yep.
I'm gonna call them the coaches Malveaux, not the Malveaux. The coaches Malveaux, like it just sounds Malveaux.
Yeah,
it kind of flows better right there.
Sure,
but
buddy.
you, coach, give me some credit for something around here. I have very few things that I can take credit for on this stuff that actually sound good and don't sound sad,
Yeah,
ridiculous. Wow.
Hey, shout out to the physicist, by the way.
Shut up. I'm trying to honor our women's tennis coach.
I know you are. Go ahead.
His first coaching year with women's tennis, Coach Zabo. You can see him here versus LSU, and that usually is about the time that's senior day for them. So I'm pretty certain that may be the case here too. So whether it's a senior day, whether it's the practice for the game and not a game, a autograph, a fan day, baseball, softball, you got so much to look forward to for the Auburn A-Day weekend, and maybe more that hasn't been announced yet. So make sure you set your calendars, be there or be square, because we will be there. To round out our show, let's talk about the well, we don't need to talk about elephants in the room because there's no elephants in the room these days, as we talked about in the March
They're
Madness.
on the couch.
They're on the couch watching, wishing. Can you imagine what it's like to
updating their LinkedIns?
Yep. Can you imagine what it's like to not make it to a Final Four this weekend?
Nope.
I don't know.
You know, there was a lot of talk after last year. See, we got a Final Four too. See, we got one too. Well, all it took was about 12 months, and we're back out front. So hope you enjoyed that. Hang that banner.
Hang that banner. You can yell Yale all you want. That's fine. We're playing in the Final Four, baby. So back to what we're supposed to be talking about. A lot of controversy this week with the A-Day announcements being finalized, and we've talked about all that you have to look forward to there. No game. That's the big thing, Austin. There will be no A-Day game. There will be a 1-hour A-Day practice. I will open the floor for you to
practice.
Yeah, I'll open the floor to however you want to go with this. Whatever. I think it's important to talk about logic in this. I think it's important to talk about the emotions of this. Let's talk about it.
I'm gonna be really, really honest. It doesn't bother me that much. It just doesn't.
Well, that's an anticlimactic segment. Thank you for that.
I like that it's still a weekend of it, you know, and that it's like I always think of A-Day for some people. Some people don't care about it at all, period. But I always view it as kind of like a homecoming feel. Like
Sure.
It's kind of a chance for a lot of people who don't make it back until the football season to come back. I think that's probably because of the final rule. A lot of that kind of emotions got kicked in with that. But I think it doesn't bother me too much that it's changing. I think because of it changing across kind of the college football national landscape.
Yes.
It's not just an Auburn thing. So to me, It's like, it makes sense. Everybody's, everybody else is doing it, so I'll do it. But it's kind of like the logic behind everyone else of moving from a game to a practice setting and it not being as aired nationally and as many eyeballs makes sense to me. And for those that don't know, it's mainly because of the portal era, right? Like guys who have a great A-Day or a great spring game start hearing from other coaches legally, illegally, whatever you want to call it.
Tampering.
Yes. And then they get in the portal and we have a whole nother portal wave and it's just chaos again. So a lot of coaches are saying, we're not going to do that. We are going to do as glorified spring practice, and I think this is also the case in the Arson era. That's kind of what it was. We did a little game, but we also did a lot of kind of position group practice type things.
Frankly,
I don't mind
both.
I still think there's an element to that it'll be entertaining to people. I think some people will be like, this is terrible. And I think that both of those opinions are valid. But it doesn't bother me that much. Besides from like a nostalgia point, like the A-Day game is cool. We all remember getting to see Cam ball out at the A-Day game. and things like that. Just like,
Yeah.
there's A-Day MVPs who panned out, who didn't pan out, and things like that. But to me, it's not that big of a deal. It's still a weekend. You can come to Auburn. Local businesses are wide open, having a great time. I think you'll probably see a dip in not population, in what's my word here? Attendance.
Attendance, yeah.
And people coming into town. And I think that's fair too, but it's just a sign of the times for me. So it doesn't bother me that much. I don't know. What are your opinions on it?
It's for me, I've really, I don't know if it's being older now or whatever, I try to really take both sides of it and find where I fall somewhere in the middle of it. I recognize the emotions of this. I'm a nostalgia freak. I don't like change. I want it to be a game, and I want it to be like it used to be all the time. That is not reality. Things change, and you unfortunately have to do things to protect the program, as you broke down so beautifully about NIL, about tampering, about transfer portal, all that stuff. I'm thankful that they're trying to hang on to it in some form or fashion, because it's not guaranteed next year to even happen at all. And for those of you that want to go very ignorantly, this is all because Hugh Freeze, didn't fight for it or whatever. No, he came in actually advocating for us to go play somebody, and he can't get through the red tape. He even said that last year. He tried to make it happen. He couldn't get through the red tape. So this is about what's best for the program, not what's best for everybody sometimes, or even the fans sometimes, but they're at least trying to find some way to make this happen. I hope that you all will take this as a lesson of what this is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be just about a game. It's supposed to be about a weekend. A-Day is a very homecoming feel. You need to go take advantage of the other programs. You need to try to come spend more than just a day there if you can. I understand that's not possible for everybody, because that's hotel rooms, expenses, all that stuff. But hopefully some of you will start seeing that as an opportunity to do that. Softball, baseball, women's tennis, plenty of other things. Tiger Trail is available to you, so I hope you'll do that. The other element that I think is going to be a little bit, I want to say controversial, but disappointing for some people that enjoyed Fan Day being in the fall, right before the season. That's not happening anymore. That's straight from the athletic department, because you're getting that experience, that autograph session that happened at Fan Day, which is basically what it was, right after A-Day, as it used to be all the time. So there's a good thing of this. I used to love that. One of my favorite videos we did every year was the filming of everybody going out there on the field together, not the running of Gumps. That's a different thing. And just
also entertaining.
Also entertaining. Getting to see the players mix and mingle a little bit. They always have the seniors and the more popular players and the coaches at their tables and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see logistics, how they're going to handle it, because I thought Fan Day in August was always done very well, logistics wise, and increasingly so over the years. You got 30 minutes in between the practice and when it's supposed to start to put up stanchions, things like that. So it could be a little chaotic, but maybe that's part of the fun of this as well. So I get that you may just be disappointed about the game. I am too, but you still get to, let's be honest, you were there to see the players. You're still going to get to see them do some of their skills. There may be a scrimmage element at the end or something like that. Coach kind of alluded to that. And you're going to get a chance to go out and mix and mingle, get the autographs, and be with your Auburn family. That's the gist of it. I think one element, Austin, you brought it out, that's a little disappointing, is that the local Auburn businesses might not get as much, patronage as they might have it with a game attached to this and stuff. And because you talked about potential of less attendance and things like that. My encouragement to you, if you can, go support some of the local businesses. Austin would certainly appreciate it as a taxpayer of Auburn.
Sure would. Yeah, I think that's the case too. I mean, I think it'll still be a bump in April, like they depend on.
Sure.
But that, in a small college town, there's no question Saturdays in the fall and graduation weekend and move-in and all those things are days they look forward to. This A-Day/spring practice game thing, whatever, is certainly one they have marked too. So I hope that doesn't hurt too many people. Like I said earlier, I think there will be some element of celebrating the basketball team, regardless of how next weekend goes. So if nothing else, that's a special team that deserves your celebration. So I was trying to look up the weather, but we're still too far out. But the next few weeks look 80 and 60. So, I mean, if we keep that trend going, it's been pretty nice. So, especially once that sun goes down. So maybe it'll be a nice weekend. If nothing else, you get to be in Auburn. And
Could
a
you ask
rainy
for?
day in Auburn is better than anywhere else.
Heck yes. Well, there might be other places that's pretty fun too, but not better than Auburn.
Probably not. Probably not.
But no matter what, we hope that you can come and hang out with myself and whoever else can attend the day, the weekend. Come be with the Auburn family, see the football team, see the baseball team, see the softball team, the women's tennis team, and so much more. We hope to see you there. And thanks for hanging out with us here at the Auburn Experience Podcast, episode 119, or basically brought to you by the letter 4, Final Four, because Auburn's in the Final Four. Alabama's not. Just
War Eagle, baby.
warning. All right. Thanks for hanging out. My name, you know my name. But if you want to follow me on X, you can do so at Kyle Loomis 24. Where can they find you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott. Got a pic of the loveliest corner on the plains up already from tonight. Go check it out with the millions of other content I'm sure that's out there. I'll also have pictures of certain shout out to some special boys' birthday party next weekend that is all Bobby themed.
All Bobby.
And wouldn't you know, it works out to be a perfect tailgate theme party, right? Leading right into a special game next weekend.
It's almost like you planned it that way.
Hey, I can't say I didn't think about it, but sometimes things just work out the way they're supposed to.
Sometimes things just work out how they're supposed to.
Bobby will not be in attendance because it would automatically turn into a nightmare.
Yes, it probably would. And how are you going to get him from there to back to San Antonio so much? Because he's a real Tiger.
Oh, great point. Great point. He can't be there because of San Antonio.
Well, he's the best Tiger in the world, so he could be there if he wanted to. It's just a lot to ask of a Tiger. They still got to nap.
I want all his focus on San Antonio.
San Antonio.
I'd be happy. So San Antonio, we're going to stick with inflatable Bobbies, and all wear our Bobby hats and have a great time and cheer on the Tigers to get to the national championship.
Absolutely. And then people were going to leave them confused because are they talking about this guy named Bobby or are they talking about Obby? It's one in the
same. Answer is yes.
Yes, that is the answer. Thanks for hanging out with us on episode 119. Until we talk to you again. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, folks. Thanks for sticking with us with the late start and with going a little bit long there, but we had a lot we wanted to break down. Force up there. Final thoughts for you, sir.
War Eagle. I mean, I'm delirious.
I feel like you just threw up gang signs on me or something like that, and I'm like, oh no, what just happened?
Hashtag call God gang.
Hashtag call God.
There's so many chances I could get memed tonight.
There is, yeah.
I've made myself plenty of opportunities. No, just War Eagle. Happy Sunday night to everybody, and I'm gonna try to get some sleep before we do it all again next week. It's gonna be a very interesting episode next week, so I hope everybody tunes in.
As a quick preview, last time they let us all watch from the arena.
Oh, really? That did happen.
Not saying it'll happen this time. Maybe you want to pay attention the rest of the week if that happens. So we'll leave it at that. I'll hang out with you guys for a little bit. Austin, thanks for hanging out and being here on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. War Eagle.
All right, War Eagle. All right, folks, you're stuck with me for the last few minutes that we have. Please bring up any comments, questions, topics that you'd like to be followed up on rest of the show. We about 57 minutes recording. I'll keep the questions and comments coming. I'll look back through a few of those and we'll round out our time together as it feels appropriate. Oh, you just missed Austin with that bracket question. I saw it come up. But I'm sure he appreciates not getting ribbed too much because he is having a blast tonight. All right, reminders for you, what we got coming up this week. Keep in mind that we will have an Auburn Family Night. I don't have that cue card ready for you on Wednesday evening. As I kind of alluded to, I have no confirmation that there will be a viewing potential at Neville Arena as there was for the last time I was in the Final Four. It would make sense if they would do it. If it's free or / affordable, I will be there. And I will continue to be there likely if it's within my schedule to do so as long as it continues. So this will be yet another week. Things could change, but Wednesday night should be pretty much set in stone. Friday, we will have some sort of post game. When that might be, if I'm here, it'll be right after. So we don't know who we do know who we're playing. Obviously, I forgot about that, Florida. But if we were to continue playing, we don't know who we would be playing. So, just remember all those things, get a little bit of patience, and we'll see how that works out this weekend when we do post-game shows, the Auburn Experience show. There may be an opportunity for us to do a live one together, which hasn't happened in a while. We'll see how things work out. So that's all of my reminders for you guys. Final questions, comments, topics. A little bit of ribbing for Austin. How's the bracket? Just curious. Mine was busted long ago. I think I haven't looked at the update since the games today, but he would found himself back in the middle of the pack, I think, or maybe like 100 or something like that. No, because that'd be too low for him. Maybe like in the 50s or something like that. I don't know where that. Mine's not doing well. I'll be honest, as I'm being I think it was a great thing we lost to Florida early because you learn from your losses. Certainly that could be at play here. It certainly could be an advantage, the thing that sparks them, inspires them, and helps them move forward. Kyle, did you see that Chipper Jones post after rolling? Did you get a chance to see Chipper Jones's post after rolling Timbers? I saw the one from last time. Was he there again tonight? That's awesome. My little Atlanta Braves loving heart is loving that. I did not forget about Ben Howland at center. I was thinking of just the more recent ones. That's not recent enough for some people. For you, obviously it is. And I remember him as well. Is Jay Jacobs on the trail? I think he is. No, I don't know. You can go online and look at who is all on the thing if you're ready to go. What else? Anything else in the chat that we needed to cover? I think we talked about most of this, and I didn't really have a chance to star anything so that I know to go back to it. So let's leave it there, folks. Thank y'all for hanging out. Thank you for your patience this evening. Austin was coming back from Toomer's Corner. Thank you for hanging out with us this evening. Stay tuned throughout the week. Plenty of content will happen regardless as we move further and further or closer and closer, I should say, to basketball inning. We'll be moving into more regularly scheduled content, but I'm kind of enjoying all this craziness, and hopefully this weekend will be filled with a lot of extra stuff that we don't normally get to do. But regardless, we'll be back together on Auburn Family Night this Wednesday. We'll be back together for a post-game show in some format for Florida, win or lose. And maybe, just maybe, we'll be in position to do one more post-game after that. Only time will tell. Thank you guys for being here and participating and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Until we get the opportunity to talk to you together Wednesday, whenever. Thank you. War Eagle.